Hello, everybody. This is Brett Parker. What you're about to watch or listen to is the special edition of episode 89 of the Dissect That Film podcast. I actually prefer this version to the version that you're never going to see because there is no special edition. But because it has been best described as just raw and chaotic, this is where we wanted to go with it. I think it's longer, more intense, and more suspenseful version of the podcast. The conventional wisdom then was, don't make the podcast too long, but at an hour and 49 minutes, this is the ride we intended you to take. So just deal with it and enjoy it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dissect That Film podcast, where once a week we talk about one of your favorite films from one of your favorite film franchises or just a film by itself. Today, on episode 89 of the podcast, we're one away from 90, everybody. We are talking about the 1986 sequel to Alien. Aliens. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. There's a lot going on over there, and I was just like, I'm trucking along, guys. I'm trucking along.
No. I'm just like,
I said the hand signals and shit.
The intro, I was like, that's different.
Yep, I changed it up. I said I'm changing it up today because we have more than one show, and I keep saying, because the intro says TV. We never cover TV on the podcast, so that's a different show. So fuck, I excluded that. That's a whole different thing.
Show. Like, I can't hear you.
And she was talking about the foliage.
I was talking about
how I'm going complete what is it, what, Grizzly Adams, the Grizzly Adams look. I just want to be Robert Redford. One of these days I'm going to reenact that meme, you know, the Robert Redford meme where he's just nods.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Smiles.
Please do.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I was just going to just in awe of the amount of testosterone that's interwoven into your beard.
I wish that was the case, but that's not how it works. Doesn't make me any more of a man that I have a beard. It just makes it more work for me because I gotta wash it and make sure, you know, I need a haircut. All right. I haven't cut my hair or shaved my beard in probably 3 months.
That's only 3 months of growth.
It's the winter.
I don't know if it is. I don't know. To be honest, I don't even keep track. To be honest, I don't shave my face to the skin. I just literally I get a haircut and it's just you take the razor, you just kind of you trim it down, and then that's about it.
That's what I do. I got razor burn real bad, so I just got to cut it short.
Yeah. Well, there you go, everybody. There is my my facial hair history for everyone listening. Everybody's like, "Yay! Thank you for that."
Grooming habits.
So we are now into the sequel of probably one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made to now probably some people would consider one of the greatest sequels ever made. Aliens. We're going to start with Dan, of course, the man who chose this franchise. Dan, what's your history with Aliens?
Oh boy.
Not just like Aliens in general. We're talking about a movie. Dan.
Aliens. I don't really have one with this movie. Outside of what I could probably mention something in the original episode. I was like, I'll mention that one. I don't remember what it was, but it was just growing. It was a thing that was there growing up. I always thought they were neat. I liked the concept of it. I guess, when did Aliens 3 come out?
92.
Okay, that's the one. That's when we get to Aliens 3. Then it'll be more relevant to me because this came out the year I was born. So I don't really have a lot of barometer. Yes, Aliens. That's it. It's awesome as shit. I still love the first one. I don't really have a history with this movie, to be honest.
Angela,
when did we watch this? Sunday.
This is your first time watching this movie?
No, you had no way. You hadn't watched with me before.
Angela was an Aliens virgin.
No, I have not.
Oh my
I've seen this
God.
movie 2 or 3 times, but I didn't watch this until I was in my 20s almost.
But
wow.
I I can't say that I didn't know anything about it because the memes, her in the end.
Right. The infamous
I've
lines.
seen that.
Yeah.
I've heard some of the lines that have come from it, which I knew. Some of the things that Bill Paxton says. But I love it. Like, I want to watch it again.
Right.
I loved it. Do I like it as much as the first one? Very, 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 very close. But I loved it.
I forgot how long it was.
Yeah, it is substantially longer than Alien.
Yes.
And to be honest, it's the longest of the entire franchise, I believe. I think it even beats Prometheus and Covenant, which are both, I think, over 2 hours long.
It definitely didn't feel like
Please don't give it to Cameron again. It'll be like a 4 hours fucking movie now.
I don't see it. Dude, he's so into Avatar right now. I could not see him going into that. If he's going to do anything else, he's going to make some movie about like the Marianas Trench or something like that.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. No, but it's going to be like a fucking horror movie or something. It's going to be like a 4-hour epic.
How come you don't ever let him remake? He'd be a great director for 20,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea.
Oh, Under the Sea.
He's not a remake guy. I mean, he hasn't done. I mean, to be honest, if you look at James Cameron's filmography, he doesn't have a lot of films under his belt compared to a lot of other directors,
no,
but they're all so iconic that and it takes him so long to make them. Sorry.
The giant octopus movie.
Isn't that 20,000 Leagues?
One from the 50s. I was talking about the one with Captain Nemo. That's what I was trying to do the first time.
Yeah, it's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, isn't it?
No, I'm thinking of the giant stop motion octopus attacks the Golden Gate Bridge in the 50s.
Oh,
what you're talking. I see it, but I can't.
I keep thinking, but my mind goes to the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which is not it. It's the Redosaurus. Entirely different movie.
The Redosaurus.
I take back one
of the inspirations for Godzilla.
About this being my first time seeing it. It's my first time fully seeing it. I think when we watched it the first time,
something happened, right?
Something happened, and I was in and out. I think we tried watching it when Victor was little.
It may have been.
Because I do remember bits and pieces of the movie, but I didn't fully watch it. Like, it was like big gaps, not just commercial gaps. So I think something was, because I do remember other parts of the movie that I don't think would have been memed.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid seeing this a lot. I remember renting this movie a lot from Hollywood Video because as a kid, Aliens was my favorite. And I think as I got older is when I started to appreciate Alien more because of the, what we talked about in that episode of how it's more of a horror movie than where Aliens is very action. I mean, there is horror elements in Aliens.
Yes.
But it's very action packed. It's a war movie. If you think about it.
Yeah.
And so like, of course, as a kid, you want that more action packed, movie that's really just going to keep you going for. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour movie. That's just the theatrical cut. The director's cut's an extra like 10 minutes, I think, or even maybe more than that. Which James Cameron, when you select the director's cut, he has to give an intro before the movie plays where he's like, this is the director's cut of Aliens. This is my vision on what I wanted Aliens to be. This is the way that everyone should view this movie. It's the best version of this movie. I'm like, God damn, just inflate that ego some more, James Cameron. But you know what? I feel as much as people can hate on James Cameron for him being some say he's a very egotistical guy, big ego. But when you're making movies that are making $2 billion a piece,
14 billion. I don't
know. It's a lot of money. I mean, at least recently with, Avatar, Titanic, making 2 or 3 of the highest grossing films of all time in his career. What other director can say they've done that? Nobody.
Touché.
So
still doesn't want to make me watch his shit. So
it still doesn't justify him being kind of a douche sometimes. Yeah, as a kid, For one, I love this movie because of the action. Of course, I love the xenomorphs. Their design is very different than what we saw from the xenomorph in the original film. And I probably saw Twister before I saw this movie, so I see Bill Paxton in anything, and I'm just like, I'm in. Give me more Bill Paxton.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Bill Paxton. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That was the role for me for Bill Paxton's Twister. So I was like,
oh,
he's the man. Like,
he's the man. And how are you going to make a sequel to Twister without Bill Paxton? You can't do it. Stop trying. But yet they're trying. But we got a lot of James Cameron regulars in this movie. We got Michael Biehn playing Hicks. We have Lance Hendrickson, who plays Bishop. Bill Paxton, who plays Hudson. There might be a couple other people I can't really remember but those three are what pops up in my head, especially actually Michael Biehn, Lance Hendrickson, and Bill Paxton being in The Terminator, which came out 2 years before this. The reason James Cameron got the job was because of the strong writing from The Terminator and how well it performed, and his writing on Rambo First Blood Part 2, because he is actually the writer of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, but let's just say James Cameron is a control freak. At least that's the rumor, and that's what from people who have worked with him have said, especially from past movies. And there's actually an episode of the series Movies That Made Us, which is about aliens. And
we watched that.
Yeah, the crew wasn't a big fan of James Cameron. You know, James Cameron being an American, and pretty much primarily the entire crew on Aliens was mostly the crew from Alien, which was all, from the UK. And they worked different than, what James Cameron was used to. James Cameron was all about getting things done. Even they had like break times and tea times, and he would always make fun of them all the time. And he was just like, he would just get under their skin so much. There was guys that literally just walked off the movie because of James Cameron's kind of demanding behavior.
Yeah.
So much. I mean, watch the episode. I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that went on. Sigourney Weaver was like last second sign on. Like, your biggest star for the movie was last second.
Yeah, she was like already written and everything in the movie. And she had no fucking clue.
Yeah, and they're like, we don't have her yet. And they're like, so James Cameron literally just was like, hey, come on, like I need you. And I guess it was like she somewhat hesitated about it before she actually officially signed on, but it was like almost last second. Michael Biehn wasn't even originally cast in the movie. It was Dexter's dad. Why can't I think of the actor's name?
Yeah,
but who played Raiden in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I just have to mention that because that movie's terrible. But why can't I think of what's his name? What the hell is his name? All right, what's the name? I'm gonna put it down here. People can yell at me. But
she's gonna find it. Angel's gonna find it. Dexter's dad.
Did you get like Dexter's Laboratory? It just shows his dad.
James
Remar. So yeah, James Remar wasn't originally cast as Hicks, but he had a pretty big drug issue, which was causing some problems, and they pretty much had to let him go last minute. And so, I mean, the good thing was that James Cameron had a relationship with Michael Biehn, and it was last second that he was like, hey, can you come in and play this role? But there's actually a couple scenes, where it's him in the shot, but you can't actually see his face.
It's pretty nice. It's like
it's pretty funny. And I guess they did a whole big boot camp thing with all the cast members to kind of get like that military feel to their like relationship with each other. And Michael Biehn was like, yeah, I came in after they did all that, so it was kind of weird. I didn't get that kind of I don't have that rapport with the cast, so I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
We had the legendary Stan Winston in his studio, who comes in to do all of the alien design, and it's just chef's kiss. It's so good. His design on the mother, the queen xenomorph, so awesome, and just the way that they had to do it. They had like multiple people inside the suit, like literally, like they had two people that sat next to each other in the suit and would operate half of the xenomorph, and then you had one guy who was in the ass end of it. and then one that would literally just control the head. Oh, it's so cool. And it was actually pretty damn big, too. I mean, you got to think, you got to fit like 3 or 4 people in there. It's got to be a big ass costume. Yeah.
Well, dude, you look at that and you watch this movie and you see the shots of that thing moving, and you're like, that's an animatronic.
Yeah.
And it looks so fucking good.
It's so good.
It is. It's just like, dude, like, why would you want CG when you could watch that thing? Like, it just looks fucking amazing. And CG is just hokey and like, no offense, but people would like back in the day they used to shit on like some practical effects not looking real, which they didn't always. But like CG is so blatantly CG 99% of the time you see it, you're just like,
that was
listen.
It was good. It was
Jaws had. I mean, that was 1975. Jaws had a giant mechanical shark that did not look real at all, but it's still considered one of the greatest movies of all time. So practical's better than CG, in my opinion.
Yes, Bruce.
Yeah, we need more of it.
More Bruce.
But yeah, we had Paul Reiser, who very young Paul Reiser. I grew up with Mad About You, which was the show he was on. And fun fact here, we're gonna have like a Bill Paxton connection. Mad About You was Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. Bill Paxton would later in 1996 be in Twister with Helen Hunt. So both of them playing together and with hanging out with Bill Paxton. I would have loved to hang out with Bill Paxton. R.I.P. to that legend.
Like badass, dude.
He's so cool. Last thing I saw him in was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where he actually played a bad guy, and he played a damn good one too. And I think he was supposed to be in more of it, but then he ended up passing away.
Yeah.
We have Carrie Henn as Newt, which is our you can't call her a damsel in distress. It's more of like a this girl is the child. Yeah, it's the only person left on this planet, and she needs help. It's Ripley's Ripley's daughter of the movie. Yeah.
Not an annoying kid. I like her.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say that. I liked.
Yeah, it was great. Her. She did the part well. I liked it.
Did you notice though? Was there some scenes where it seemed like she was trying to do a British accent, and then after a while she was just talking normal?
Yes.
I was like, I'm wondering if they like tried something and then they shot it and then they just kept that shot, because there's a scene where she literally sounds like she's trying to force out a British accent and it just didn't sound right. And then other scenes, it's nothing. But yeah, like we said before, Bill Paxton as Hudson, who he's my favorite Marine other than Hicks, just because Vasquez is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
she's awesome. You have William Hope as Gorman, he's such a throwaway character. Even though people were like, but he did the thing. And I was like, yeah, but I feel like the other person could have done the same thing.
Yeah, at the end, he kind of like, I shall redeem myself. But
yeah. We have Jeanette Goldstein as Vasquez, who, if you watched the movies that made us episode, she's in that. And it's like, are you the same person?
Yeah.
Look, anything. And and the funny thing is, like, Vasquez is supposed to be Hispanic, or she is Hispanic in the movie. Yeah. Jeanette Goldstein, not at all. Not at all. So yeah, there you go. We have Mark Rolston as Drake, which I think was Vasquez's like partner.
Yeah.
I think they had to have been some sort of relationship. I feel like that was a thing that they just didn't mention. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the cast of this movie. Oh, and Al Matthews is a Pone, who I swear to God, when they made Halo, they modeled the chief guy or the dude who wakes up Chief after this dude, because he's the same guy. He's got this big cigar in his mouth. He's like, Chief, wake up. It's time to whoop some ass, Marines.
Well, I don't remember his little saying. One of his little sayings, like, back in my day, all we had was a bunch of sticks and one rock, and the whole platoon had to share the rock. Some bullshit like that. I was like, oh yeah,
so good
stuff. Yeah, a little bit to say. Frost, yeah.
Which one was Frost?
Oh, he was the guy that gave all the ammo to.
Oh.
And then he caught on fire.
Oops.
Yeah.
Whoopsies. So this was written by James Cameron, David Giler, and Walter Hill. It was produced by Gail Ann Hurd, who we talked about before on The Terminator. She helped write that with Cameron. She was actually married to Cameron for a bit. Cinematography was done by Adrian Beidel, who so many people on this film are dead, by the way.
First film.
Yeah, he was a cinematographer from... This was actually his first movie he ever did cinematography on. He would go on to do The Princess Bride, Willow, Thelma and Louise, Judge Dredd, Event Horizon, The Mummy, The Mummy Returns, another movie we've covered on the show, Reign of Fire.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, and his last movie he would be V for Vendetta, which he did that. That movie came out after he passed away in 2005.
That was a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed V for Vendetta.
The music was done by James Horner, who we've talked about recently in the last month. He did the score for How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh,
this would be, I think this was his first movie that he did. Oh no, his first one was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which was funny because he was actually brought on to do the score for Star Trek because the production couldn't afford to bring back Jerry Goldsmith, which Jerry Goldsmith was the composer for Alien, which then James Horner would come in to be the composer for Aliens. So it's like he just keeps coming in after. Yeah, we can't afford him. He's too expensive. And of course, we talked about it when in the Grinch episode, the fact that he passed away back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But he did Avatar. He did Titanic, and his last movie score was the Magnificent Seven remake from 2016.
Mm.
This came out July 18th, 1986, running at the theatrical cut at 2 hours and 17 minutes. Let me see if I don't know if it gives me a time. No, it doesn't give me I think it was like 2 hours and 34 minutes. I think was
when I looked it up, it was 2:34.
Yeah, the director's cut. Jesus, I couldn't think of what to say. It was the highest grossing film of 1986. It made between 131 to 183. I don't know how there's that much of a difference where they don't know the exact number this movie made, but it's between 131 and 183 million dollars on a $18.5 million budget. $18.5 million to make this fucking beautiful movie. How?
Happy birthday to me. I don't know. They came out the year I was born, so that's all I know.
Were you born after or before?
What was the official release date?
July 18th.
3 days after.
Really? That's crazy. Wow.
There you go. During the opening weekend, dude. I would have been right after the opening weekend. It's like Alien did so well. Let's just shit this Dan guy out. It's all downhill from here. That's how
your mom went to labor. She went to go see Aliens in the theater, and she just got so much jumping and excitement. She was like, "Oh no, her water broke actually in the theater watching Aliens, and had to go to the hospital to give birth to you." That's the story, and we're sticking to it.
It's probably so
just
much
tell your mom
that's
the story of what happened, even if it's not true.
I just mentally, it's not nowhere.
Because you would tell her that, and she'd be like, "No,
dumbass," and then she'd hit me. Just kidding. No, she would not.
This movie, Sigourney Weaver was actually nominated for Best Actress at the 1987 Oscars for her role as Ripley in Aliens. James Horner was nominated for Best Score, and I think it won an Academy Award for special effects. So, good job, Aliens.
It deserves
you did it.
Yay.
Get out of there.
There's a lot of messages in this movie when it comes to, I think, motherhood and PTSD and war trauma and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to those specific scenes and we see certain characters on how they act. Like I said, I watched the director's cut, which has the deleted scenes just added back into the movie. And they don't, and the good thing is they're finished scenes, so it doesn't take you out, because some director's cuts will add seeds in, and it's like, where are the? It's just like it's just like plywood in the scenes. You're like, what happened here?
The audio's way off.
Yeah,
you're like, actual shot itself just isn't finished. It's just really rough.
What happened here? But yeah, let's talk about Aliens. So the movie opens up in space because that's where all these movies take place.
Absolutely, they have to.
We get I love this though. It's not as cool as the opening scene to Alien, but I still love it. You know, the alien, the logo kind of forms on the top as the ship is coming closer to the screen. So I made a mistake in our Alien episode where I stated that the ship that went to the plant to LV-426 in Alien was the Narcissus. It was technically still the Nostromo. Like the Nostromo was in orbit, but it was also part of the Nostromo that goes down to the planet. Okay. The Narcissus was the escape pod that Ridley, I'm going to keep saying Ripley takes at the end of Alien, the one that she goes into cryosleep in. So this is the Narcissus, and Ripley is in cryosleep. You get the really awesome shot of the robot cutting into the room to get in.
It comes to that door lickety split.
But it's so good. It comes crashing in. People come in to investigate, and they notice, there's somebody in that tank, and they're still alive. And there's a kitty in there too. Jonesy!
MVP.
Mm-hmm. So they get Ripley awake, and also Jonesy's alive, which is good. Jonesy made it through the journey.
Yep. Well, also the guys state that one of them, there must be scrappers,
yes,
scavengers, salvagers, because he says, "Well, there's a live one here. It looks like our, scrap. We ain't getting our scraps or salvage bonus or salvage pay for this one." Because I'm assuming me and Angela were talking about this in this universe. It must be that if you find like a vessel like that is, as long as there's no surviving crew members, it's free game.
Right. Yep.
But at least these guys seem like they're on the level. They're like, all right, well, we found somebody.
They're not like pirates.
Like we're just going to have to log it, and we're just out this one.
The guy just like steps on the cord. Oh, whoops. I unplugged it. How did that happen?
Unplugged.
I don't know.
So we meet Burke, played by Paul Reiser. And boy, he's a good guy.
I'm one of the good guys. Take my word for it.
Yeah, he literally says that. That is literally a line that comes out of this man's mouth. He works for Weyland-Yutani. And to be honest, if you've never seen this movie before, Angela, coming into it, Angela, were you told about him before watching this movie? Like how it all ends up? So I guess I should ask the question when we get to this point. But like, did you feel this guy was going to be a good guy? He was coming off?
Yes.
He was really good at being persuasive. Like of like, I'm a good person. Like I'm here to help you.
He's right there.
Yeah, he sympathizes with her and stuff like that. Like I understand, he's not
so
a pushy piece of shit.
Yeah. So you find out that Ripley was asleep for 57 years. Okay.
So
That's
I'm like,
one hell of a snooze.
She's like, how long? And I'm like, oh, he's going to say like, 20 years. And he says 57. I was like,
yeah.
Excuse me?
Snooze button.
It's never explained, though, that these cryo chambers don't age you until you find out that it's been 57 years. She hasn't aged. And you're like, oh, well, okay, I guess that's what they do.
Yeah. Jonesy's the oldest kid.
Yeah, we said Jonesy's the oldest cat in existence.
Yeah,
that point. He has to be.
It's crazy. I was like, how does this work? How did like this? It just stops the cells from aging. Like it's great. It's a crazy technology that's never explained in this entire series.
And that's what I asked later on. Like, do they dream? Like, do things? Like, does it just like shut down your brain?
I know, right? Because I feel like if you dream, you're going to have to age, right? Because your body is still functioning.
Yeah.
I mean, also when you're dreaming, you have no perception of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, she probably doesn't, like, I'm assuming she probably just doesn't even realize that she's been asleep. Like obviously, it's just probably similar to just being asleep normally.
Yeah.
You just wake up.
Yeah.
You just like, boop, all right, time to be awake. I'm assuming.
So she finds out this information. She starts going into like convulsions and she's freaking going crazy on the table. And you're like, oh shit, what's going to happen? And then blood starts squirting out of her chest. And you're like, no. And then a chest burster comes out. And then it's like, poof, she wakes up and you're like, oh, what the fuck? It was just a dream. But guess what?
Like,
the 57-year thing still happened, guys.
Yeah.
That was true.
That was not. Yeah, that did not get reset.
No.
She meets with Burke. And they talk over about the fact that she's got to be in like she's got to testify about everything that happened. And her first thing is like, you know, where's my daughter? And he's like, that's not, I feel like that's not important right now. And she's like, no, where's my daughter? And he's like, well, she's like, she died. She was like 66 years old and she's dead. Here she is. And it's the worst fucking picture of an old lady. I swear to God, they just found a picture of a random old lady and it was like, this is Amanda Ripley, who
That's the one.
you play as in Alien Isolation, the video game.
Yep. There you go, dearest one for you to play.
Yeah.
But it's scary.
It does. It's got 2 brains.
I don't even know if I could play that game. Like I'm not good at stealth. I'm just so bad at stealth games.
Yeah. The ass brain.
I do want to play
like
Fire
Godzilla.
Team Elite though, because I do just want to be a Marine just going in there and laying waste to
Yes.
I honestly have
Aliens.
heard it's good now. Like when it first launched, it wasn't very good, but I've watched people play it. Like obviously it's been out for a year or two, but it's pretty. I own it, so if you ever want to play, let me know. I got a PS5.
yeah,
I'll
sure.
buy it for $10.
When I decide I want to play a video game, I'll let you know.
Listen, dude, I'm just offering it up to you, so this shit's on you.
All right. Or if you want to play the greatest Alien game ever made, get Alien Colonial Marines. I've heard it's like always on a top 10 best list. There's no bugs. There's nothing wrong with that game.
Never. Dude.
I will. It's so good. What do you mean?
Dude,
God.
you bring, dude, listen, you're talking about Alien. Here's some important milestones related to video games. This first one isn't, but this is just nostalgia. Alien Trilogy on the PS1. I have that game still on the PlayStation 1. It's a fun game. It controls like ass, but it's a fun game.
That's
right?
a PS1
you go through
game.
like you essentially skip over most of the first games, but it's like Aliens mainly, and then like part of Alien 3. But Alien, the next game, not next, it's a couple down. Maybe Alien Resurrection, whatever the 4th Alien movie is. What is it?
Resurrection.
Yeah, Resurrection. They made a PlayStation 1 game for that, right?
Oh shit!
And that was one of the first games that used twin stick movement.
Oh.
In fact, I think it was the first game, and it got shit on for those controls. Like these controls will never catch on in video games, and everybody uses it. Everybody thinks it was the original Halo. It was not. It was Alien Resurrection on the PS1.
Wow.
So there you go. Fun fact.
All right.
Carry on.
Is it better than the movie? We'll see.
Love how little Parker gave a shit about that little nugget. He's like, yeah, great. Anyway, moving on.
No, absolutely. I love that shit. I don't play video games much anymore, but I do like still listening to the history of video games.
No, I'm just fucking with you. Good.
So she's got to go to a hearing, tell them about the entire situation that happened on the Nostromo, and no one believes her.
Of
Like,
course.
of course, you're just gonna tell us there was an alien on your ship, and everybody says like, well, "What the fuck else did you think happened to him?"
A little bit of cryo brain going on, being asleep too long.
So yeah, they just pretty much think she's crazy and suspend her license so she can't be a pilot or whatever the hell her job is.
Mm-hmm.
She was a warrant officer, which I still don't know what that is. So she finds out there are people living on LV-426. And she's like, what?
For
You
20 years.
Yeah. She's like, you mean the planet we found the weird alien ship and where my crew got fucking destroyed by an alien from that ship? Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, and they've been terraforming it.
Yep. But it still sucks. It still sucks. So we go there to see what's going on that planet. It looks pleasant as always, just windy and stormy and dark and just pleasant. And we just got everyone and everybody fucking going out and doing jobs. It's just it's a mom and dad and their 2 kids in the back seat driving through the thing. Just, hey, we're gonna what are we doing here? These aren't professionals.
And this is not in the theatrical cut.
Really?
No, we don't. They don't show any of like the inhabitants of LV.
Oh, they don't even show the workers?
Nope.
Wow. This is probably the good chunk of the time that they add onto this movie, because this takes a while. You literally start in the control center where you see people who work for Weyland-Yutani kind of going through, and they're talking about what there's one guy who's literally talking. It's like, hey, there's a mom and pop operation out there wanting to know, they discovered a ship out there. What do you want them to do? And he's like, oh, just, if they find it, it's theirs. Whatever's in there, it's theirs. I don't care. Type thing. And then we see them, the family, in their vehicle, and it's Newt's parents. It's Newt's parents. It's Newt, and then her brother, her brother is actually played by the actress's actual brother.
Two brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the parents then go into the ship, and for some fucking dumb reason, yeah. And so Newt and her brother are just kind of waiting there. And then the mom comes back. It's one of those moments where like Newt goes to the front seat, and then the mom like bangs her fist up or hand up against the window, like, let me in. And she opens the door, and it's just the dad laying on the ground with a face hugger on his face. And she's calling in, for help. And that's kind of the gist of LV-426 and its inhabitants.
I will say, watching the theatrical cut, not knowing that happened, I don't feel anything was missed. Outside of you getting to see that scene.
Yeah.
Like, it explains the same stuff in the movie later without showing it to you. Like, you just kind of like, oh, this is what happened.
Right. So Burke and his pal Gorman, who's kind of like he's like the lieutenant of the Marines. They are gonna go to LV-426, and they're like, hey, Ripley, you know about this planet. Why don't you come along? She's like, fuck you. I was already there and bad things happen. Why would I want to go back?
I tried to tell you.
And they're like, well, there were people there. And that's where she first finds out there were people there. And she's like, what? And they're like, yeah, we lost contact. She's like, I wonder why.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, she's pretty much like, no, I'm good. So, but she's constantly having nightmares about her time from Alien. She's suffering from PTSD, having recurring nightmares about the whole situation, which I don't blame her. She calls, but this all like gives her the motive to be like, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. I'll join. And it's one of those things where it's a card and it's always a video call. Like the dude just wakes up. And he's like, no shirt on. I was like, whoa, hello. It's like, why has it got to be video? Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine he answers it while he's in the middle of doing it. And you're just like, why did you answer that?
Hey, gotta be efficient with my time.
I know. Yeah. It was Ripley. I needed to know her answer.
Yeah.
Let me finish fucking her before I fuck the rest of y'all over, okay?
Oh, no.
You good, dear? Yep. Cool. Just making sure.
I love how she pulls the card out, though, before he, says anything else. That's the way of hanging up on someone. Just pull the card out. Oh, Lord. So we are now boarding our new ship of the movie, and that is the Sulaco. And it's our base of future nightmares.
Yes, it is. We
meet the crew and the Marines in the same type of scene that we had in Alien, where they're all in their cryo chambers and the doors open, everybody wakes up. It's not as iconic though, like when you see Kane wake up for the first time and he's all by himself. There's like, look at these oversized whitey tighties.
Yeah, they just got shorts on, green shorts.
Yeah,
that's 57 years in the future.
That's true. And you meet Al Pone, the head guy there, who's barking his orders with his cigar hanging out of his mouth.
First thing he does is put the fucking cigar in his mouth when he wakes up from the cryo.
I mean,
yes.
I hope this slang for coming at a cryo tube is the ice box. I really hope it is. Just got out of the ice box. Yeah.
These are all interesting characters, all these Marines. We have Hicks. We have Hudson, Bill Paxton. We got Gorman, who we already met. We have Frost. We have Vasquez, Drake, Spunkmeyer.
Yes, Spunkmeyer.
Spunkmeyer, Crow,
Is that a cookie?
and Wesbowski, and Corporals Dietrich and
It's
Pharaoh.
a fucking cookie. Must be the Otis Spunkmeyer lineage.
Maybe.
They don't make cookies anymore. They're now in outer space battling aliens.
I mean, you got to do something.
Your purchase of our cookies will fund our future, intergalactic wars.
So they're in the mess hall and they're, eating their first meal and they're bitching about it because the food's not very good. And it's like, well, how does the food not get better after 57 years? But whatever. And
what is it? I think it's cornbread.
Yes. Yeah, because then they
Frost.
Yeah, because they're talking about the cornbread. It's just locker room talking here. They're talking about, hey, remember when we went to that planet and boned all those chicks? Like, yeah, that's not exactly what they said, but that's pretty much the gist of the conversation.
Yeah.
And Ripley is sitting with our newest android, Bishop. And this is where Bishop comes over to Hudson. And he's like, hey, Bishop, do the knife thing, man. And so he's going to do it to himself. But then one of the other guys grabs Hudson's hand and puts it on top of his. And he does it. He's like, ah! It's such a great scene. Oh, it's so good.
It fucking goes, too. It's awesome.
It's fantastic. And then Bishop goes back to the table and he's bleeding a little bit, and that's when Ripley realizes he's an android. She's like, you never told me there was an android on here. And so that's what, she freaks out. She's pretty much like, you stay the fuck away from me, Bishop.
I love Bishop.
Bishop's awesome.
Bishop is
What's
great.
he referred to be called as?
Best android.
Not synthetics. There's a term he likes to be called.
Mechanical person or something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
Makes him sound smarter, or makes him seem better. Because
right.
He's like, forgot to tell you, the last android that she had to work with malfunctioned, and she's like, it more than malfunctioned.
Yeah.
It tried to choke me out with a magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they go through, like, they even like have this whole like back like just breakdown of like the model number.
Yeah,
and shit
he's like,
that.
oh yeah, they've been those models were known to malfunction. And he's like, okay,
what's the twitchy?
Okay,
yeah. He said something about his model can't malfunction or whatever.
Yeah, because they got behavioral inhibitors.
Yep. So the Marines meet up and Gorman drops the xenomorph. We hear xenomorph for the very first time in this franchise. That's how they describe the alien. And I like how Gorman doesn't know anybody on his crew. He literally calls Hudson Hicks. He's like, well, that's Hicks.
Wait.
He's like, what the fuck are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
And Ripley tells her story about what happened on the Nostromo with the alien and all that, and very dramatic, and it's very well done. I love her story time. I was like so invested. I was like, I saw the movie, but Sigourney Weaver delivering the story with no visuals, so good.
Yeah.
And Hudson, he does not know when to shut the fuck up. No, he's like, how do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
Yeah.
Oh. So it's time for mission prep, and that's when we see the power loaders in action, which are really fucking cool. And then you find out that Ripley's qualified to use one, and you got that cool moment where she loads up one of the crates onto the thing that she looks down on. I think it was Alpone and Hicks. And they're like, nice, impressive.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Then you get
it makes sense it makes sense that she would know how to use that, though.
Yeah.
In her line of work. So working like freighters and shit. So
as much as I love Ridley, my fucking God, I did it again. That's number 3, guys. Yeah. As much as I love Ripley in Alien, she has so much more to do in this movie.
Yeah.
She does so much more in this movie. But then after we see this shot, we then get another great shot of Vasquez and Drake showing off their big old guns. Just doing that. Yeah. Look at my big muscles and my big old guns. And it's time to roll out.
I don't know about the pulse rifle, but I'm going to get this number wrong. The smart gun that Vasquez uses. Vasquez, the one that's on like the crane arm.
The massive, they're big guns.
Yeah. That is, it's based on an MG42, which was later converted to an MG3. It was an old World War II weapon.
Oh, that's
Nazis used them. I can tell by the way she pulls it back and pulls it forward to like rack it. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Very cool. So yeah, it's time to roll out. Hudson is just got all the great one-liners. He's all got all the. It's like, hey Ripley, don't worry about it. I'll save you. As he like locks her into place.
Love him.
I can't remember. I am so bad with quotes. Like, I just know that he has all the good one-liners, and I couldn't tell you what they are, other than the ones that are told over and over and over again.
Of course, dude.
So we get they're on the ship that's going to go back down to the planet, and it's just a fucking elevator from hell. Just fucking drops down to the planet super fast. And it's a really rough drop. I love how I think it was Vasquez who asked Gorman, like, hey, how many missions have you done? He's like, including this one, 2.
Yeah, like actual like military, because like, how many drops have you done? Like 10, but they're all simulated or something.
Yeah. And Hudson's favorite line is always, check it out, check it out, check it out. As he's saying everything. He just never stops. So they land, and it's time to investigate. And there is nobody around. And I mean nobody. So how many people were on this settlement? It said it on the crate. It's
like 100 and some.
It's like 120 or something like that. So they go inside one of the buildings, and it is just torn apart. There's just things ripped out of the walls. I love
the ceilings ripped open.
Oh yeah, we get the first use of the motion tracker, and the sound that it emanates is just so creepy as they're going through the hall. And this is where we see that the floor is melted. They notice it's like, well, that's melted metal, and that's when Ripley's like, oh shit, I know what that's from.
Angela's got a quote for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Stop your grinning and drop your linen.
Yes, that's a Hudson.
Oh, it's Hudson, so good, dude. So good.
But because Ripley notices it, because they've got the little like head-mounted cameras and stuff, and she tells him, like, I think it's Hicks, to stop and look down or something, and then she sees the melted spots.
Yeah, because they're looking, and he's like, she's like, back up and to your right, and you see, like, I didn't know what she was looking at until she's like there, and I was like, oh, okay, they've melted the floor.
Well, there's also another shot here. There's something else. It's not so much here. It's actually another shot a little bit later in the movie, but I'm gonna say it now before I forget. Is you talked about the motion scanners? Yeah. Well, there's some scenes of them just kind of walking around looking, and there's not really any music or anything. It's just them walking. You just hear the sound, the blip from the motion detector. And I was like, it's just, and it goes for just a little bit, not a long time, but it's very atmospheric. It's neat.
It's very eerie. Mm-hmm. So you find out that the colony was doing research on the facehuggers, because they go into a lab and there are facehuggers in like tanks. Mm-hmm. And you find out that a couple of them are still alive, because they go up to one of the tanks, and I think was it Hudson or maybe it was Burke who goes up really close, and it shoots out you get to actually see that it's a penis.
Yeah,
it's not technically, no. Technically, it is alien wing wong. That's what you'd say. But
is that the scientific term?
No, technically, if you equated it to something on Earth, that kind of organism to deposit eggs, which is what it's doing, is an ovipositor, which is a female organ. So.
Oh, right. So it's the female. So it's a female's penis. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like in insects, bees, the stingers. Yeah. Females are the only ones that have stingers, because stingers are modified female sex organs. They're modified ovipositors. So if you ever get stung by a bee, it's female.
Good to know.
You're dicked by a bee. That's a good way to put it.
She's trying to impregnate me with her bees.
What happened? You got a dick.
Just coming. Just that's a horror movie. Someone write it. Where a bee, you get a bee, like a bee stings you. It's kind of like if you've seen the 2021 Candyman, it is kind of very similar. But like you got stung with a bee, and then it like your skin starts to get eaten away, and it like starts like eggs are like burrowing into your skin, and then the fucking bees just and they're killer bees, and they just start killing everybody.
But it can't be Attack of the Killer Bees.
How come they can't be? How come it can't? There we go. Make a horror movie. Somebody make a horror movie based on the human botfly, because that is legitimate, like body horror in real life. And
we did. It was called the Fly.
Yeah, but it's a little different. The botfly, though.
Nothing will beat Run the Fly.
Yeah.
From like cats and dogs. Oh, it's so painful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I know it's painful.
It's disgusting.
Anyway, carry on.
So yeah, they're doing research on it, and they're like, what the fuck? Why are we doing that? It's mostly Ripley going like, what? Are you guys crazy? This is when they find Newt. She's the lone survivor of the colony. And Ripley immediately is like, you're my daughter now. And protects her with all her might.
Her hand.
And she doesn't say anything for the first 15 minutes that you see her, until she finally starts talking to Ripley.
It's like them.
Yeah.
That's getting remade. We can make the reference.
Yes, it's being remade by Mike Flanagan? Who's the
fucker's faster than Walt Flanagan's dog? I'm sorry, I mean an entirely different reference. No, I don't remember. It's the guy who did Werewolf by Night.
Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, that's the guy's doing it.
Yeah, the composer.
I'm excited. Big bunch of giant ants. Woo!
Yeah, I'm excited.
Then you get dicked by ants.
We'll have to review the original.
Oh God, it's so good, dude.
I know. I saw it as a kid. I haven't seen it though since.
Make me a sergeant, charge of the booze. Go on.
So Newt finally introduces herself. You find her full name is Rebecca, but she goes by Newt. That was like the nickname her brother
calls me Rebecca, except for my brother.
Mm-hmm.
They'll call me Newt.
Yeah, that's when she's. Yes, it was. And then the rest of the movie, it's not there. You're like, okay.
Wait a minute. It just told her, don't do that.
It's a defense response. Yeah. She starts talking in a British accent.
She's a kid actor. I was like, I left it alone. If it was like one of the main cast, like the adult characters, and they're doing that, I'm like, whoa, what are we doing here? How did we not reshoot that? Why is Sigourney Weaver talking with a British accent that she's like, she never talked like that before. That's so weird. But yeah, Ripley warns her of the danger, and she's like, oh, I know of the danger. As you can see, I am the only one left.
Right, yep.
So Bishop, we get kind of a very similar scene to Alien, where Bishop is studying the facehugger. And it's very similar to when Ash was studying the facehugger when it was on Kane in the original. It was kind of that same situation where Hicks comes up and is like asking about it, and hey, you seem very interested in it. It's like it's a very interesting organism. And you're like, oh, Bishop, don't do it to me. Don't do this.
Yeah, because it's misleading you. It's breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Have some.
Yep. And Hudson finally picks up signals from on other, hey, we found where the colonists are, so we're gonna go there and see what's going on. And Ripley's like, it's probably not good.
Yeah, because they have little chips or whatever in them.
So
that's what you get for electing no, sorry, it's when the Democrats took over in the future.
Oh Jesus, let's not go there.
Stop. Just go ahead.
They find the base, and it's been turned into a giant cocoon.
Yeah, because they're all in one spot. Like, why are they all in one spot?
Yeah, which then later on you find out why. So yeah, they find dead bodies, and they find the dead face huggers everywhere, and they find eggs.
It's a wild alien orgy in there.
Yep.
The walls are melting.
You then see that there's a survivor, and the survivor's like, run, get out of here. And then a chest burster comes out, and then they fucking fry it, and you just hear the screaming. You're like, oh my God. The aliens make a lot of noise in this movie, by the way. We don't hear, the xenomorph doesn't make much of a noise, I think, until that final fight with Ripley. In this movie, they scream a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I now if I the alien in the first movie, because there's different classifications of xenomorphs, is different than these.
Well, you could
ones.
tell by the design too.
Yeah, like they're all xenomorphs, but there's like subgroups or classes of aliens, kind of like with bees. There's worker bees, and
right. I mean, if you think about it, xenomorphs are just insects. They're space bugs.
Yeah. Yeah, so like more like ants, I'd say, because there's forager ants, soldier ants, stuff like that, nurseries, breeders. Yeah, that's what because there's I don't know, steep lore shit.
So they go. So after all that happens, a bunch of xenomorphs just come out of nowhere and just start picking everybody off, and it's a bloodbath. Yep.
Where are they? They're coming. They're on the walls. They are the walls.
Oh, I love the xenomorph where like hops off the wall on top of one of the Marines and then like pulls her up.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So yeah, everybody's just getting taken out left and right. People are getting knocked off. And then the best though,
fire.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. But the scariest part is when they go back to where everybody's watching from, because I think it's Gorman, Ripley, and Burke are watching from the screens, and that's even more terrifying is watching from the screens instead of seeing it in person.
Yeah.
Because they're like, Alpone, what's going on down there? And it's like screaming, and then Alpone just gets taken out, and you're like, Alpone. Gorman's terrified.
Well, see, another movie tried that recently and didn't do it nearly as good, but Jurassic World. With the raptor scene is nowhere near.
Hey guys, check out our Jurassic World Dominion episode featuring Darren Lundberg of Nostalgia Cast. 3 hours of us just loving that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking about actually the first Jurassic World.
Oh,
where they go out to track the Indominus.
Oh, geez,
all the soldiers.
Yes,
it's not a horrible scene, but this is done way better in this.
Oh, absolutely. You definitely could tell that was an inspiration for that scene in Jurassic World.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things though where you're like, Gorman, you piece of garbage. Like, because Ripley's like, call them back. Like, call them back. And he's like, stop it, you're not in charge here. And he's like, well, your entire crew is getting taken out. Call them out of there. God, Gorman, you idiot. Ripley has had enough. She busts her way into the fight. She literally steals the really weird looking vehicle they got.
Future tank.
Yeah. And she busts into the room and helps get whoever survived out of there. Drake gets
Gorman doesn't realize that she's taken it, that she's gone anywhere until she starts moving. And he's like,
no, you can't do that.
You have to have a penis to operate that equipment.
Dude, what do you think she's going to do?
In the future.
Yes, 100%. But then, of course, they talked, Ripley talked about earlier the fact of like these aliens have acid for blood. And they're shooting at it, and I think it's when Vasquez and Drake are trying to get brought in, and Drake shoots one from close range, and it just covers him in the acid, and it like burns his face, and it's really cool practical effect on his face. But that's Vasquez is like, no, my lover. I think they were lovers. I don't know.
Probably.
But they also get is it Hicks or no? Somebody else gets hit with the acid too, because there was an alien that literally pops into the doorway and they shoot it from close range and it like hits him.
It's Hudson gets him a little on his arm, his upper arm, but just a little bit.
So it's a rough time. Everybody they get out of there and it's just a rough go about it. And they come up with the idea. They're like, you know what we need to do? We just need to nuke the site and call it a day because there's way too many of those things. And of course, Burke's like, I don't think that's a good idea. There's a lot of money invested in that site. She's like, what do you expect us to do? What? I understand a lot of money, but what do you want us to do about this? How do you expect us to get rid of these things? There's so many of them. So they try to fly out of there. But so they call it because there was like the ship dropped them off and then went to another location. And then they called that ship back, and a xenomorph was like, I'm joining the party, and just kills both the pilots, and then it crashes. And that's when we get, they're picking up, and that's when Hudson's is like, it's game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
And it's like, guess we're not leaving. leaving soon or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's like,
damn, a newt.
well, she's not wrong.
I just love how Ripley just constantly tells Hudson, shut the fuck up. Hudson, just calm down. Because he's freaking out. Because he freaks out before, too. Like, he's on the ship. He's like, what the hell was that, man? I wasn't prepared for that, man.
Yeah.
Freaks out the whole time.
Dude,
And Ripley's
so
like, shut up, Hudson. Shut up.
I don't remember when it happens, but my favorite time is when his voice breaks. And I'm like,
that's so great. Oh, so they got to bunker down in one of like the control areas, like one of the control buildings. And Hudson's continuing to freak out and is like, calm the fuck down.
They get his head back in the game.
Oh, yeah.
It takes him a bit, but they get his head back in the game.
They have to fortify the place up and prevent the xenomorphs from coming down. And it's going to take 17 days before somebody is able to get there. And it's like 17 days, we're going to be dead. So they decide, well, we got some sentry guns. We're going to set them up around the complex, to kind of ward them off. But we're very limited in ammo. So it's only going to last for so long. You get the tender moment between Hicks and Ripley where he shows her how to use a gun. And that's about it for that. Ripley and Newt hang out. And I to be honest, I think every time Ripley and Newt are together, I think it's a great scene. There's not a lot that goes on, but I think the chemistry between those two are great. It really feels like a mom and daughter situation.
oh yeah.
And it's not the fact of like she finds this girl, because there's a lot of movies where like they find a kid and it's like a little bit hostile. It's like, I don't want to take care of a kid. That's somebody else's problem. And then they grow closer. It's like, no, Ripley immediately takes her in and is like, I will protect you with my life.
Yep, motherly instincts.
I mean,
I fucking hate kids, so I mean, I don't.
coming from a mom, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you see this kid that's scared and you just kind of take him in.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, if we run out of food, you just eat her.
Jesus.
I would eat you first.
Yes,
Just
please.
saying.
So yeah, she puts Newt to bed. Ripley tries to figure out who is laying the eggs. It's like, how were there so many? Like where, like, and they're like, well, there's got to be a mother somewhere, right? Like, oh yeah, shit.
Admittedly, in the original movie, Ripley wasn't on. She didn't go inside the.
No, she was always on the Nostromo.
Yep.
So there has to be a queen. That's the only logical answer you can get for the amount of eggs that are around. Burke, he is just continuously being shady as hell. And then Ripley finds out he sent them to the ship, which started the whole thing. The xenomorphs make their way through the tunnels, and we get to see the cool scene where the sentries are. You don't actually see the xenomorphs coming in and getting shot. All you see is the sentries shooting, and you see the ammo going down.
That wasn't in the version we watched, was it? I don't remember the sentry turrets. Nope.
It's literally, you literally see just a screen where it shows like the amount of ammo that's left, and it's like, oh, we're at 50%. Oh, it's out. B-side's out. And all you hear is the screaming from the xenomorphs. You don't actually see them, which is great. Did you guys not get the scene where Ripley finds out that Burke was behind it all?
Yeah,
No, it's in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's in there.
Absolutely, that's in there.
Because that's the point I'm like,
yeah,
you asshole.
So Bishop gets sent to get the other dropship from the Sulaco, because he's pretty much like, if I can go out and realign the satellite, I can remote control the other dropship back down to the planet.
Keep going. There's something about this scene that I really like, but go ahead.
And he has to like go through the smallest pipe possible to get there. I'm like,
yes.
Nope. It's awful.
No thanks.
But I love the fact that he calculates all the time that they will need to do everything. It's like, well, that's not going to give us a lot of time.
Yeah, because first off, this Bishop going through this tube, I'm like, I would never in a million years do what this guy is doing.
Because
Ever.
I'm watching him. I'm like,
Yeah, no,
he makes it 4 feet. He's like, I'm stuck.
No, but one thing I like though is like it's Ripley and Vasquez getting ready to go in the tube, and he gets in the tube, and Vasquez hands him a pistol, and he looks at it and hands the pistol to Ripley. I just thought that was great. I was like, awesome, nice touch.
So yeah, the last of the sentries get used up, but the xenomorphs retreat, and they're like, I wonder what's going on. It's like, oh, we scared him. It's like, I don't.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I don't think so. Hicks shows Ripley how to use a pulse rifle. And she then goes in. After that, it's like her buddy now. She's got the gun with her at all times. She's just carrying it like this. I'm going to go visit Newt now with my gun.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you. I'd be strapped all the time. Remember, stay strapped or get clapped, guys.
And she notices Newt's not in her bed. She's like, where is she? She's actually sleeping under the bed. And so she goes and cuddles with her. But then she notices that one of the tanks is smashed on the floor, meaning one of the facehuggers got out. Great scene.
Yes, it is.
They are fighting off the facehugger, and you show it just shows like how terrifying these things are. It's not because we've only seen the facehuggers in these films as just like from egg to face, and that's about it. Where you see this thing literally crawling all over the room, they're trying to shoot at it, and you find out there's more than one.
Yep. Because there was 2 that were still alive.
Yeah. And so you got the one that's like wraps itself around Ripley as she's trying to prevent it from attaching to her face, and they're trying to pull it off. And I love how they just, dude, Hicks just dives through that window. It's like,
dude. Okay, so Ripley cannot break the glass with a chair, but he can break it with his head.
I think he shot at it first. Didn't he? Did they shoot at it first?
Not in the version we watched.
I was gonna say he just went right through.
He just fucking smashed it.
The only argument for this I will say is
he's a really hard head.
Yes, I could have done it easy, but the chair that she's using to hit him with is not a very heavy or structurally sound chair from the looks of it. Admittedly, and I'm not critiquing her because I think it's just to make the scene more dramatic ultimately. But I mean, that guy probably weighs like $190. And he stored all of his mass at it.
Yeah.
But I think she could have broken with the chair. It's just
because I mean the chair's got a pointy.
It's got the pointy ends. Yeah.
Spot on it, so she could have easily broke through it. And dude, I feel like it was thicker than what they made it out to be because they're hitting on it and screaming, and you can't hear anything.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that.
But they're hitting on it.
Yeah,
and you
can't. Well, it's double paned. There's that inner pane, and there's like that air gap, and then there's an outer pane of glass.
So he should not have technically been able to.
Probably not.
Break it like that.
Right.
Shatter it like that. Yeah. I mean.
He's a man.
He's a man.
Just goes right through it.
He's a man.
Now you're a man. Shit. Fucking orgasmo. Shit.
Oh Lord. So, where am I?
Hicks threw himself through a window.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they're trying to they're pulling the facehugger off of Ripley. They also notice that there's another one, and Hudson ends up pinning the tail in between like a cart and the wall, and then blasts it.
No.
Newt pins it in between the cart.
Oh, and Hudson shoots it, right?
Yeah, well, he gets it. He knocks it out of the way before he does. He lights that fucker up.
The first one.
Yeah, and then Vasquez shoots the second one.
Yeah,
yes, because he's like something about ready
Hicks,
shot or something like
Hicks
that.
Goes,
and he's like,
I think Hicks goes, Vasquez, are you ready? I'm gonna throw it, and then he throws it, and then she shoots it up against the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, see, Vasquez being the more responsible, just like a quick, 5-8 round burst.
It's just wasting all of the ammo. Like, whoa, dude, we need to conserve our ammo.
How many times is he gonna shoot it?
Dude, Jesus,
like in pieces everywhere. But no, like, can we appreciate Newt's scream?
Oh,
she has an awesome scream.
She does, and so if you watch the director's cut, you hear the scream with the scene where her mom and dad come back, and the dad's got the face hugger, and she sees it for the first time. She does that scream.
She has a great scream.
So you find out that Burke was the one who locked him in there because his whole plan. So she pretty much is like, yeah, he wanted to get us impregnated to be able to bring us back because they wouldn't detect it with the scanners when we came back.
And then
because he shuts the monitor off while they're screaming.
Yep.
And then he was going to pull the plug on all the military people left over, so they would die on the trip back.
So no one could confess to him doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you find out Burke is a pile of garbage, and
Paul Reiser.
Yeah, he's great in Stranger Things.
Yes.
So yeah, Burke is absolutely fucked. He pretty much tries to get out of it, but no one believes him. They're like, "Oh well, we could just, we might as well just kill you." But then that all ends when the xenomorphs start, like, they're getting the signal that they're getting closer. But they're like, where are they? I love it where they have the sensor and it's like, it's only 6 meters. It's like, it's in the room.
Yeah, that's in the room.
What do you mean? And then they find out.
They had schematics. They had schematics for the whole place. They can't figure out where they're coming from.
Ripley's like, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. And then that's when they realize, oh, they're above. And that's when you get Hicks. He opens up the grate to look inside, and it's just xenomorphs crawling on, like, they're crawling to. I was like, oh shit.
I mean, I wouldn't have put my head in there.
Yeah, it's like the drop tile. It says like a drop tile ceiling.
Yeah,
but like the schematic doesn't accommodate for that.
I love the simple fact that they just filmed this upside down because it was just people crawling normal, and they just flipped the shot to make it look like they're crawling on the ceiling. Such simple things that make movies so great. So yeah, we get the epic shootout. Hudson unfortunately gets taken out. It's kind of similar to the kill that we talked about last week with the Friday the 13th remake, where he kind of gets like sucked to the like, no.
Except Hudson's a badass. He's like trying to shoot down, like, you motherfucker! Like, he's going down.
You want this? You want this?
Yeah, see, Hudson was going down awesome. He wouldn't be a bitch about it.
Oh my god, so good.
At the end, they get his head back in the game, dude. He's ready to fuck some shit up at the end of the movie. He goes out swinging.
Well, Burke, he runs out of there and he locks them in the room. And of course, Ripley is trying to get out, and she knows that he's just being a piece of shit. And they're fighting their way through, and then they finally get through, and Burke locks another door. But then he ends up running into a xenomorph, and bye Burke.
Yep. It's a shame you don't see him actually.
No, you just see the xenomorph, foaming at the mouth, and then that's it.
Boo.
I would have loved a shot right in his face.
Hell yeah.
Bye. So they go through the vent because they're trying to seal the doors, and it's just not working fast enough. So Newt's like, I know how to get there through the vents. So they go through the vents. Unfortunately, Vasquez falls behind. She gets in a close fight with one of the xenomorphs, which then covers her in acid, which injures her. Gorman goes back and kind of redeems himself for kind of being a piece of shit. And they sacrifice themselves by doing like the grenade.
Yep.
Yeah, they blow each other up.
I love that.
Dude, holy shit, dude. When Vasquez takes that last xenomorph out, she's got like that 1911, like, dot, 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 like point blank range, its fucking head.
Yeah, and it like covers her ankle with the acid.
Yeah, it's so sweet, dude.
Yeah, I love it though, where he flips open the thing and they just accept their fate because she grabs his hand too.
Yeah.
So then you were always an asshole, Gorman.
Yeah. Dude, but like this is what I'm talking. This is another reason why you talked about this film being an action movie, but the action scenes are so well done. It's not just shit happening. It's like there's shit happening, but then there'll be like those really close dramatic sections, like the Vasquez particular, or when they go find the nest at first, and like people are just getting torn apart. It's just really fast cuts and shit of people. Yeah. It's good. It's really good.
So Newt falls down into like a sewer. She like slips down. There was like a fucking wheel thing that she falls through, and Ripley can't get her fast enough.
I love it because she's just like, she's got her hands.
Ripley!
She just goes,
wow.
The shitty ass amusement park is
on the slide. Yeah.
So they got to get down there, and they find her, and they got to cut through the grate. And this is when you get the iconic shot of the aliens, coming out of the water. And,
it's such a
great shot. And it takes her. And it kind of confuses me.
Water.
But then I realize, oh yeah, that's the whole point. They steal the humans first to then nest them, and then they get impregnated by the facehuggers. They're pretty much they're worker xenomorphs.
Yeah, and there are ones they kill. They probably kill the soldiers because if they're too much of a threat, or they can't easily incapacitate them. Not all of them, because some of the soldiers did get killed.
Yeah, it's
probably how they base that on. Like, okay, if this is something, because they say they have to incapacitate them to take them back. So if it's like something they can easily overwhelm, like a child or a non-combat role human, they could probably just grab them and take them back, or break their legs or some shit and take them back. I don't know. Needs to be alive. They're like wasps, parasitic wasps. They sting them, paralyze them, and they lay eggs on them and bury them in a hole.
Yeah. Insects are weird, man.
It's like dicking people, dude. I'll never.
I love that new term.
No. See, dude, like now that this got brought up, like every time I think of a facehugger, I just imagine Parker's like, get dicked.
I mean,
that's
a t-shirt idea. Get dicked.
Yes, it is. Please.
So
come to dissect that film and get dicked.
Oh god damn. oh my lord.
Good way to start 2023.
So if we hadn't found out before, we should probably figure out now that shooting an alien xenomorph at close range is not a good idea.
Yeah, no,
because Hicks shoots one and it covers his chest in acid, but he is able to take his chest piece off before any salad.
Up a little bit,
but she's got to like carry him out of the base.
Well, I mean, I guess you didn't really have too much of an option because they were in the elevator and like it's like prying its way into the elevator.
Yeah.
I mean, like I guess what else are you gonna do at that point?
Yeah, it's like the slowest goddamn elevator. Come on, shut the door. I'm surprised the elevator works though. To be honest,
I like how he's sitting there and he hits it. Nothing. Hits it again. The door starts shutting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Oh no. So Bishop finally gets the ship remote control down to the planet. But Ripley has a plan. She's got to go she's like, I'm not leaving until I get new. How much time do I got? He tells her, I think it was like 19 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was on the edge of, I've seen this movie before, but I was on the edge of my seat for this 19 minutes. I'm like, there's no fucking way she's able to locate new.
He said like 26 minutes or something like that. Because she's like, we're not leaving. He's like, we're not.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was 20. Maybe it was 26 minutes.
I thought it was something like, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of time.
Well, because she gave Newt that tracker so she could find that tracking watch that Hicks gave to her so he could find her, but she gave it to her.
To Newt.
Yeah.
So Hicks and Ripley properly introduce each other. She, tells him her name is Ellen, which is her name used. Is she said Ellen Ripley, called Ellen Ripley in the first one? Like, do they ever say her first name?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Should be Eleanor Ripley?
What?
Eleanor Ripley?
Rigby.
No,
we're not doing that shit.
His name is Dwayne. Dwayne Hicks. Dwayne. So there's limited time.
Well, there's dick muscles he had to throw himself through that fucking window.
So she is told she has 19 to 26 minutes to get Newt. Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but it seems like she.
130 to 180 million dollars. That's how much time.
It seems like though she takes her sweet ass time. Oh my god. But yeah, she is given a time frame and she takes her sweet ass time to do everything. I'm like, there's no way that she's able to do us. But according to James Cameron, the time frame of her getting off that ship to her rescuing Newt and getting off the planet is exactly the right amount of time. I don't know the exact time. In film, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Like that's
movies
how
don't usually do
exact
that.
it is. It's wild. But when you're watching the movie, I'm on the edge of my seat. There's no way. It says there's 2 minutes. No fucking. Because to be honest,
Let me get my stopwatch out.
I completely forgot that the final fight isn't on the planet, it's on the Sulaco. So I'm like, there's no way with 2 minutes to go, she then has to fight the Xenomorph Queen. And then I'm like, nah. And then I was like, no, she gets off the planet, goes to Sulaco, and you're like, oh, okay, like, never mind.
I almost said something. I'm like, wait a minute, where's the...
Yeah, where
is she? Was she not part of this version? I'm so confused.
Did we
do I remember the wrong movie?
It's like 2 minutes left. I was like, is this Dragon Ball Z time? Is this that 5 minutes to fucking blow up 15 episodes later? What?
She's still screaming.
Yep.
So, Newt has been cocooned, but the face hugger hasn't attached itself yet. But Ripley takes care of that pretty quickly before anything serious happens. And that's when we finally see the Queen Xenomorph. And she is huge. She got the huge, like, sack that, like, lays the eggs and all that. And I love, though, the fact of, like, the Xenomorphs are coming out. And then they kind of retreat back in.
Yeah, like, she comes, like, yeah, because it's Ripley and the alien Queen. And then, like, the aliens start coming in the side. I don't remember what she does. She does something.
She says something, and then she does her flamethrower on her gun.
Yeah, and then the aliens back. The Queen, like,
okay.
She makes some kind of noise, and they're just like...
She's like, we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, I like how the Queen's, like, she's not a fucking idiot. Like, she's not an idiot. She's very intelligent. It seems, compared to the other Xenomorphs. Negotiating skills.
So... Ripley flames the eggs and shoots at the mama's like the tube there that's laying the eggs.
Well, because what happens? They start leaving because it seems like she's just gonna like let them go.
Yeah,
and then like that one egg opens up.
Yeah,
and she just fucking flames them.
Yep. And then you get the screaming, and then you see all the Xenomorphs coming out from where they were hiding, and she's flaming them and shooting them because she attaches the rifle and the flamethrower together.
Yeah.
So it's easier to carry, I guess.
Lick and stick.
Yeah. So I love the shot though of the Mama Xeno detaching from the tube there, just ripping from it to chase after Ripley.
It's weird because that's actually if you think of like insect anatomy, which is obviously rough, but they're based on roughly, it's literally.
She would have ruptured
thorax. It literally is detaching the abdomen from the body. It's literally what it's doing.
But like, I love this whole scene because you can hear her. You just hear the Queen breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
You don't really hear Xenomorphs breathe, but you just hear her fucking breathing.
Yeah.
And like her opening her mouth and like not necessarily hissing, but it's a noise that she makes that communicates.
Yep.
And like when she first see her in her mouth, like kind of lowers down.
It's like her whole jaw just lowers. It's not just the normal straight in and out like you see the other ones do. It's like this whole apparatus that's underneath her. I assumed it was like a helmet, like a
part of her body.
But it's a harder spot of her body, and then you just see this lower itself and like
it's kind of like
the design is fantastic.
It's just like the kite and shell of like a beetle, like where it's got like the harder on top. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I just assumed she breathed real loud because she didn't have a nose or eyes.
Well, but that's we don't know how they feed. We were talking about this, like literally having like a biological discussion, like how they work. Because like ultimately they talk about this later, but they're a weapon. Like that's what they are. That's why they're designed so efficiently.
Yeah.
But anyway, carry on. I could rant on that.
So yeah, she chases after Ripley and Newt. They have to take the elevator up, and it's like 4 minutes. I'm like, no fucking way they're getting back to this ship in 4 minutes.
Yes.
And
the slowest elevator ever.
Yeah, so she gets on the elevator and she sees that the Mama Xeno is chasing them, but it closes quick enough for them to get up. But then they get to the top and the ship is gone. And you're like, "No, Bishop, you bastard!"
Yes.
And then you find out that the Mama Xenomorph took the other elevator.
Yes. You're like, oh shit,
that's the funniest thing, bro. I could only imagine the Mama Xeno just squeezing in there and just like, click, just tapping the buttons go up. It's so funny.
Really long fingers are just like.
Oh, it's so funny.
But it is, but you see, like I don't think she's smart. Like I feel she would know how to do it. Like
it's so fun. It's still hilarious when she comes out of that elevator. I was like, how the fuck did she fit in there?
No. Like, I see her just pushing every button. Like, what do these has
to work?
Sweeping all the buttons.
Oh god!
It's like
yes.
So yeah, the ship shows up at the last second. They get on before they get attacked by the Mama Xeno, and you're like, oh well, that's it. That's the end of the movie. Good job, Bishop. It's over.
That's what I thought.
And that's what a lot of people thought. But then I remember there is a big battle, and there was a quote that has not been said yet. Ripley finally accepts Bishop. She's like, you did good, Bishop. You're actually not a bad android. He's like, can you stop calling me that?
Yeah, because he says the reason he wasn't there is the platform was unstable. And
right. Yeah.
Around.
But as this tender moment is happening, Mama Xeno comes out of nowhere, picks Bishop up, and just rips him in half.
Well, she stabs the tail through him first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Picks him up and then...
Dude, it's so awesome.
She stabs him from behind, and then she stabs him like in the middle.
So it's such a great shot of just the tail coming through his chest. He's just like spewing the white shit out of his mouth.
The whole time this is happening, I'm screaming, the milk's gone bad.
Oh, at least he doesn't squeal like Ash does in Alien. Remember when he's like malfunctioning? He's like a fucking pig. You're like, what the hell?
Calm down, dude.
I just thought that
as a colonel, yeah.
And even when he talks afterwards, it's not that
mechanical talk.
He does have that sound to it a little bit when he speaks later.
But it's not like the double voice.
Yeah,
like Ash.
I really like it. I liked that.
I liked that, but I still like that they have upgraded.
Right.
So it's almost like he's not as...
He is pretty much as almost... He is
human.
almost
he's
human.
More human.
Yeah.
Now this is a part of the movie we're about to talk about, and I need to know if I'm waiting for you to say something, and I will mention it at the very end, and I hope it confirms the theory we have. But carry on. After Ash gets split, or not Ash, but after Bishop gets split in half.
So Ripley runs away, and tells Newt to hide it like in the floor. And
after she signals for a field goal.
Yeah.
She's like, here.
He's like, hey. Pulls out a flare. Hey, over here.
I feel like she's doing yoga at this point. Yeah.
God.
I feel like she's doing yoga at this point. She's like squatted down, and she's like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Do you need a poop or something?
Oh, Lord. So so Newt goes into the floor, and I love it though. Like the Mama Xeno, she's pulling up all the grates, trying to get at Newt, like reaching in there, like we said, she's really smart. This
is where we were discussing, like, how does she know where she is? Like, can she
smell her?
Sense we said smell, or could she sense electromagnetic field sharp,
like the Amplified Lorenzini?
Well, yeah, that could be true. That. But like the fact that they don't have eyes, like you were saying before, like they're blind. Yeah. I'm guessing.
Like this is what we were assuming, because they can see in the dark. Like they don't need light to go where they need to go.
Well, some of the early Alien designs for the first film were, it still had kind of like a skull, and like the dome part was kind of like it wasn't actually like they could see through that.
Yeah,
like on an Alien, like that's. I don't know if that's where their eyes are. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. And I think it's really cool. Like, we like being a biology major, and it's fun to bounce this stuff off the wife. And why don't you like it too?
I'm into science. So, like, I was assuming, because she didn't see her go into, she saw her go into the floor, but she can't see,
In theory.
In theory, she can't see where she's moved to. But, like, every time Newt moves, she finds her. Yeah. So she has to have something that she can sense.
Maybe she's really
movement.
Maybe being designed as the weapon that they're meant to be, they probably have all sorts of things. They probably do have a good sense of hearing. They probably are very good seismic. They're very good at detecting movement and vibration.
But she was like on it immediately.
Because if you're gonna have an ultimate killing machine as a weapon, you might as well have it. Have everything. Yeah. Sorry, I got your brush. But carry on.
So this is when Ripley gets one of the power loaders and comes out and says the line, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
Yep.
Get away from her, you bitch!
And we all clamor.
Yeah. And it's like Power Loader versus Mama Xeno. And it's a really cool fight. I love it's just, there's really not a lot of music going on. It's just the sound of the Power Loader, like the arms opening and shutting, and the Xenomorph fighting her.
It looks so good.
It's so awesome.
Good.
That's all you need. You don't need music.
Alien versus Predator. Oh, God.
We're coming up to it.
I don't even originally I wasn't planning on doing those two. Maybe we'll do a vote and see if everybody wants us to cover those as part of this.
I thought we were.
No, not originally, but maybe we'll see what we'll see what Twitter decides.
Yeah, let Twitter decide. Fucking vote to do it. I'm actually prepared. I've got them all. Like, I'm ready.
This is a scene though that really pissed me off. So she pushes Mama Xeno into like where the airlock is. But she also gets dragged down there. So her thing is, I'm going to crawl out of the power loader and open the airlock to then force Mama Xeno out. How the fuck does she survive? You open up the airlock to space and she somehow is able to not get sucked out or just suffocate?
We discussed this too because Victor had pointed that out. Yeah. He's like, you would immediately die.
Immediately.
And
you do not immediately die.
It's
immediately die.
Pretty fast though.
But it is that scene was drawn out a little bit.
But I've looked into it. I believe when I was researching it, you would actually pass out from lack of oxygen before you would die.
But she's holding.
I understand. I'm just saying. Look, just go look it up. Like NASA's talked about this and stuff. You can look up what happens to the human body in the vacuum of space. You would pass out like drowning, similar to drowning, before you would just.
How do they test expire. That?
No idea. Just throw monkeys in space.
But it's like your bronchioles in your lungs like expand, like they get pulled apart
because you're in a vacuum.
But
apparently your blood boils too. At some point.
So I just
assumed all terrifying.
That
this face.
This scene is just drawn out a little. She would have passed out before.
Well, I mean, the oxygen is being pulled out. It doesn't instantly just no oxygen.
My whole problem with this scene is, it
is a movie.
She pulls the lever to open the outer door.
Yeah.
Why didn't she go back up and push that back up?
Yeah.
Instead of crawling all the way out.
Yeah. Why didn't she? Yeah. I was confused with that too. She had to crawl all the way out to then open another panel to push a button that then closed the door.
Yes.
She literally
I agree.
could have crawled up two rungs on the ladder and pushed that back up.
Yeah.
Before she crawled back.
Commenters tell us. People let us know, like message us. Tell us legitimately, like, would you survive? Like how the vacuum of space works on a human body.
Yeah.
I feel
I've looked into it a long time.
She would have been pulled out.
Oh, yeah. I think the sheer force would have ripped her out. Easy.
And you see Bishop, half his body's going.
Yeah. Well, no, but keep going, Parker.
Oh, sorry. I was no, you guys are good. I had to make sure I pulled something up before we got to the end here.
Oh, I didn't tell you. One of our maybe I didn't tell you. One of coworkers started listening to the podcast.
Woo!
Yes?
No,
Tyler. Whoa.
Yeah, he's like, what was it? I'll find the thing at the end. When we get to the end, I'll pull my.
That's awesome.
The thing I remember him mentioning is he listened to the Friday the 13th episode, 2009.
Hell yeah!
He's like, I got to the roast beef sandwich section.
Oh god!
I hope you had fun.
So Ripley survives everything. She does get grabbed by the Mama Xeno, but she's able to get loose, and then she gets sent out into space, and then everybody rejoices. I do love though there is a shot of Newt was like, no, Bishop, and like grabs Bishop's like upper body to make sure he doesn't fly out of the ship. I was like, oh, they saved Bishop.
She had him in a total headlock. She's like,
No, Bishop.
I was like, she's just choked him.
And yeah, so they survive and they are like, okay, we're gonna go into cryo sleep now. And they're like, well, and Newt's like, can we dream? She's like, you can do whatever you want. And then hopefully they don't wake up to the events of Alien 3.
Hopefully not.
See, that's
doesn't
what I
know.
was. Well, no, I don't know. But that's what I was asking. I'm like, do they dream in cryosleep? Because if they do dream, she's gonna dream about all the shit that's happened, and you can't just wake up from that. So it's like you have to live that dream.
Do androids dream of electric sheep?
I mean, ask Bishop.
Well, no, actually, my real question is, I want to know what happened to Bishop's legs.
They're
Did they
gone.
get sucked
They're
out?
fucking gone,
The
bro.
shot of his legs just getting sucked out,
They're
because this
gone.
is what we talked about after the movie. Like, we want, like, is they just gonna glue them back together with another
They're
one?
gone. Absolutely. Just
I'm so
see you
pissed.
later.
I got pulled out.
I think
Oh,
it's
well, that's
crazy.
it. That's Aliens from 1986.
it just ends.
Yeah,
Like
it's
they
just
go to
over.
cryo, it just
Yeah,
ends.
That's it.
that's it.
I said it ends exactly how the first one ends.
We didn't give our
Actually-
opinions of the movie at the beginning.
But Jonesy,
Hey, dude.
Jonesy was in the beginning.
I know.
Who you asked us? Or
Yeah, it's the
impressions
same
of it.
thing. It's part of
I
it. It's part
said
of the
I
whole
loved
thing.
it.
Yeah.
But
I did love it.
but who's gonna feed Jonesy while she's
I
gone?
know, they did point that out. They're like, you're sitting this one out, Jonesy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
at least we got him in the beginning.
Yeah,
we
we
got
did.
Jonesy. You know,
We did.
still MVP.
And his RBF.
Oh, his Rusty. Yeah. Oh, totally. But that's cats.
It's
mostly.
orange cats. I'm sorry, that's all orange cats. They all have them.
I do want to say I do love this movie, and this is a fantastic watch, and it's tasty and delicious. I still love the original slightly more, just
But
because of what it is. But it's fucking close.
So people are going to probably dislike our list because I'm the same way. So I guess our list right now is at number 1 is Alien and number 2 is Aliens. And to be honest, though, I feel those two are going to sit at 1 and 2 for the rest of this franchise.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
not a big deal.
Here-
We're not afraid
Yeah.
Aliens is going to fall any lower than 2. So don't be too mad at us, everybody. But we do have some comments.
Yeah.
As you know, every week I post on Twitter and Instagram what everybody thinks of this movie, and we got a few people who really love this movie. Our first one is from Doom Generation Podcast. It says, best film of the series in our opinion. Vasquez is just too bad, and Ripley and that Doc Loader and that Big Mama Alien Bugussi. Listen.
Yes.
Listen. And they have an episode probably going to be coming out around the time we release this. So there's going to be 2 Alien episodes that you need to listen to. Ours and Doom Generation Podcast. If you want to listen to a podcast where they are going to say every single fucking quote from this movie, every quote that we couldn't think of, we couldn't remember, they're going to remember. Please go follow Doom Generation Podcast at Doom Gen Pod on Twitter and wherever you listen to your podcast, because their podcast is fucking hilarious, and I can't wait to listen to their Aliens episode. But yeah, theirs is coming out probably, like I said, it's probably going to be out. Ours comes out on Friday. I think theirs comes out Saturday morning, maybe. I don't know. But please go listen to that.
Fuck you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know you guys. It's awesome. I'm just kidding.
No, thank you so much for leaving comments, and go listen to their show. Our next one is from In Films We Trust podcast, and one of my Wayne, I guess one of the members of that podcast, is that favorite films of all time, and definitely one of the best sequels ever made. Make sure to go.
Say this. No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, make sure to go check out In Film We Trust podcast.
I say, even though I like both of the other movies, as far as the sequel goes, I feel this is a better sequel to Alien than T2 is to Terminator.
Ooh. All
But
right.
I'm not saying like it's horrible. T2 is still a phenomenal
So you're saying
film
that
as well.
James Cameron is better at making a sequel to a movie that wasn't his than he was to making a sequel that was his?
Yes.
All right. And next week, I'm going to see if Avatar Way of Water is better than Avatar 2009. So
You're the only one that'll know.
Yep. Our next comment is from John Big Booty at Jeb91380. Said it's one of the best sequels ever made. It's an all-time favorite of mine, and it's a perfect mix of sci-fi, action, horror, drama, and even a little humor. All Hudson, by the way. It scared the heck out of me when I first saw it, but in a good way. Our next one is from Seismic Cinema, another great podcast, an amazing podcast from over in Scotland. This is definitely best of the bunch. Love the cast. The sound of the motion detector still gets me on edge.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't talk about sounds. I didn't even mention. I love the fucking sound for the pulse rifles and the smart gun. Oh my god!
It's like and the sound of the aliens when they're getting shot, like that loud shriek. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, dude. It's one of the best like fictional firearm sounds ever.
So good. And our last comment is from Stu World Order. It says, inarguably a stellar movie, and I say it far surpasses the original. I can't agree with that final statement, but you know what? No. I appreciate your opinion, you know. But yeah, Stu World Order or SWO Productions, another podcast. I've actually been on that podcast. I talked about the Avengers over there. So make sure to go check out Stu. He has a great podcast over there. Does a lot of superhero comic book movies. Like I said, I was so humbly able to be on his show to talk about the 2012 Avengers.
Very nice.
So yeah, I'm going to be putting everybody's Twitter handles who left comments in the description down below, or in the show notes, as people say. So you guys can go follow them on Twitter and make sure to go follow their podcast. We didn't get anything on Instagram this time, but I do appreciate that people left us comments over on the Twitter.
Yes, thank you.
Next week, for our 90th episode, we're going to have our first guest of 2023, all the way from the Two Peas on a Podcast. We're having our good friend Gerald on to talk about a movie that is getting all the accolades right now. It is blowing up all the award shows. It's probably going to win some Oscars, and it's considered one of the greatest multiverse movies ever made, and that is 2022's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I am very excited to talk about this movie, but I'm also super scared because I do not know how well I'm going to be able to take notes on this movie because it is bonkers.
Okay.
But it's going to be a great time. I'm very, very excited. And then after that, we're going to be venturing back into the Alien franchise to cover Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, which I'm super pumped about to continue this franchise, is because now we're going to be getting into the not as well liked Alien movies, which are always so much fun to talk about. But next week, I'm so excited for 90th episode, which is just absolutely insane. And to have Gerald on as our first guest of the year. Very excited because I'm very excited to just get a bunch of new and old guests.
Yep.
For this year. So hope you're all excited about that. Do we have any final comments before we get the hell out of here?
I have one comment.
Yeah.
Not bad for a human.
Yeah, got that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, it was a lot of fun talking about this movie. Thank you so much for listening to the show. January has been already the start of a great year, and looking forward to we're so close to 10,000 downloads. It's so close. I can almost touch it. It's right there. Oh man. Yeah. We got a lot of things in the works. I'm not going to talk about them here because we got to end the episode at some point. And but we're hoping we can get a live show in by the end of the month, which will then clear up everything that's going to be going on for February. But until next time, make sure to follow us on all the social medias at Dissect That Film. Make sure to follow Dan and Angela at their socials, which will be down in the description. Mine will be down there as well if you want to follow any of my personal socials. Make sure to make sure to share, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't yet. And wherever you listen to us on any podcast service that you can rate and review us, leave that rating and review. We appreciate it greatly. We've gotten actually, before we go, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. All right, we got a new review on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, nice.
One from Boomer 284-73937. Well, that's a lot of numbers there. It
Big.
gave us 5 stars at Fan Freaking Tastic. Said Brett and the gang run one of the most enjoyable movie podcasts out there. Crossing genres every single show, they bring the energy and laughs. A must listen. Oh,
I feel like I know who that
and
is.
we are we are ranked 52nd of all podcasts in France for movie for film reviews. So
Nice.
thank you for listening to all of
almost
our
halfway
French
there.
listeners. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Very cool. I like how it's Brett in the gang now.
Merci
Yeah.
is thank you, right?
We don't have a name.
Yeah, you know French. You asked your question.
Is merci
Huh?
merci is thank you, thank you, right?
Yeah. Merci beaucoup is thank you very much.
Yeah, there we go. That was our
I know some
terrible
French.
attempt at French.
Wait, hold on.
I know more Spanish than I knew French.
Hold on. I lost it.
I will learn more.
I was trying to remember what it was in German, but I don't.
I took
But until-
French in high school.
Also, make sure to check out. We're starting to do reviews on The Last of Us. I just did a review on episode 1 of the HBO Last of Us show, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, until next week, everybody. I am your host, Brett Parker. That is my wonderful co-host, Dan and Angela. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 89. We'll see y'all again next time. It's game over, man. Game over.
Adios, muchachos.
Auf Wiedersehen.